Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. We're so excited to have you here with another gaming stream at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Is an EducOCEANal Gaming, and today we're going to play Endless Ocean Luminous. I am Golnoush. I am one of the content creators here at the aquarium, and I'm so excited to be joined here by folks from our dive operations team. And if you'd like to say a little hi, we'd love to get to know you.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Meriah. I'm a dive officer at the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Hi, my name is Sara. I'm also a dive officer at the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
And behind the scenes, also, we have Krista and Emily who are here helping us out. Please give them a shout out. And I will be, once in a while, might be panicking and screaming their name. So we'll see. We also haven't played this version of the game before, so it's going to be fun. We're all going to explore and experience this all together. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. If you see us looking to another direction, that's because our chats are on a different screen and we're trying to keep monitoring them. But yes, please have your questions come in. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much. We are so excited to be playing this game. Again, I love our dive team and I'm just so happy they're here with us today. Emily, are we ready?
I was just gonna say, Sara, Meriah, what is a dive officer? Can you tell us a little bit about what you actually do at the aquarium?
Yeah, very happy. We are dive officer, supervisor of dive operations. So our jobs are basically to monitor and support the day-to-day dive operations that happen at the aquarium, both in the exhibits and out in the field. We both supervise both our staff divers and our volunteer divers. So we have a lot of people getting in and out of our exhibits and then getting out in the field as well. And we make sure that we are taking care of those people. They're properly trained. They have everything that they need. Anything dive related. Once they touch the water, they're under our purview. So we supervise them.
Nice. All right.
I will also ask more questions as we're playing the game. And again, feel free to share anything and anything you like about the game as we play it, about the animals, about the diving in this game.
Cool.
Very excited.
Definitely
Start
talk about the
playing.
diving.
Yes.
Anytime you're ready.
We will try our
Alright.
best with animals, but very dive focused.
Sarah is going to be our navigator, at least for a part of this game.
See how well this goes. Oh no.
Unless
I think it's just yes. Continue. It's just mad because we're not connected to the internet. Right
Okay.
Should
sure,
we go back?
doesn't really need to be connected, but
It's probably because I touched the controller first. Technical difficulties, like underwater, totally fine. On like surface, computers, printers, can't print anything.
Is it gonna get mad at us because we're not connected to the internet? If so,
whoopsie.
We're off to a great
Whoops.
start.
If so, Golnoush, quick tap dance while I fix things.
Put on the mola.
Oh yeah. Say hi to Mola.
Yeah, I just Mola. Kristen, can you grab the controller for me? Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Technical difficulties. So
Yes, somebody asked. Yes, this is a mola right here. Our precious little mola that every time I enter this room, it's just staring into my soul. I'm not used to that eye just yet. We also have our shrimp costumes in this corner that we will not be wearing today. Apologies. Yeah, let's see. Any other questions?
What's your
There's-
favorite thing about diving? I have that question.
Honestly, that's such a hard one because there's so many things. Whenever I go diving, I feel like I'm home. Like that's kind of just like the easy response. It's just like once I'm underwater, I'm submerged. Like all the chaos that's happening like within just like the world, you're like, I have to do this, there's this to do, or there's this coming up, or anything of the sort. You're underwater. It just turns quiet. All you're hearing is your bubbles. And your focus is your task that's underwater, your buddy, and just making sure you guys are safe, and then enjoying the environment you're in. And like, so we're getting the opportunity to dive in all these different environments from at the aquarium, And so being able to dive in like the kelp forest, you get to dive in the kelp. You can dive in the Monterey Bay Habitats exhibit and diving with all that diverse animals and species. Like it's, it's kind of mind blowing to think about every time like you go underwater, like what you're getting to do. So yeah, trying to pick one thing is a little hard.
Sorry, it's a technical disaster.
We're trying our best.
The start stop.
I just want to give a quick shout out to the person in the YouTube chat that said that they literally got their dive license because of this game series. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Whoa. Do you have a favorite place you've dived? Doped? Doped? Devoved?
You want to go first?
Or a place that you really want to dive but haven't been able to yet?
So Monterey, honestly, like I know, like we're at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Of course, you're gonna say your own backyard, but it's true. Like diving in Monterey Bay, there's just something about it. Like been diving here hundreds of times, and it's a new experience every time. Like there's so many different dive sites, just like shore dives, just along the Monterey coast. That you can dive, like just diving like in Monterey and like diving in Carmel. Probably like a 20-minute drive from each dive site, 25 minutes, and it's completely different. It's a totally different vibe.
Yeah.
We just went diving 2 days ago, and we in fact saw a mola.
Yeah.
We were just out doing skills, and then all of a sudden, boom, mola appears.
How big was the mola?
I want to say like a pizza.
Yeah. Pizza's a good reference.
Like a medium
pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're about to head up. We were doing a deep diver training, and we were about to head up to start to do our safety stop, and Mola just came on by. We're like, all right, we can hang here for another minute or two.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think Catalina is probably a second. If you've never been diving in Catalina, it's kind of it's another mind-blowing experience. I favorite kelp. I've noticed that. Been diving in warm water before now, and like I always just get drawn back to the kelp. But diving in off Catalina, the diversity you see there, it's insane. It's just, I think we went on a trip there with a few of the aquarists, and all of us were just like jaws open, just stopped and just watched the diversity of like the algae, the fish, like all the above. Like it was beautiful.
Awesome.
We
can start the software as you're answering the question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yay. One of mine is definitely going to have to be, and it's not because of the location, it's because of the type of diving. But we went off to Hawaii, where we did blackwater dive. So yes, it's Hawaii, it's beautiful, it's fantastic, but the blackwater diving is what makes it really cool. And for those who don't know, blackwater is when you go diving and the only thing that you can see up, down, side to side is pitch black. So the bottom of the ocean is about 2,000 feet below us, and we go out at night and we try to collect animals that are vertically migrating up to the surface. And it's really cool. The first time I ever got to go and do one, it truly feels like you're floating through space, and it's just a really cool experience.
I'll be providing support to you. Thank you for your hard work.
I do not like the Siri sound of this, Sarah. It's throwing me off a lot.
Do you want me to just keep pressing buttons? We can just go all in.
We could just
Yeah.
go all in, honestly.
All right.
Embrace the chaotic neutral.
Ooh, see, it's blue, so it worked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
It's a clue. That is really cool. So, gosh, you just talked about vertical migration at night. Tell us a little bit more about what does that mean? I've heard that ocean animals do a lot of migrating at night.
Yeah.
People think that birds are the only ones. Well, not everyone,
different
but
type of
yeah, there's different
migration.
types of migration, and in the ocean habitats, there's also a lot of migration happening at night. So, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, more than happy. So vertical migration is this really cool phenomenon that occurs. There is a deep, dense layer of organisms, small organisms, but a ton of them, really deep down in the ocean, and they stay down there so they don't get preyed upon. But at night, when those larger predators are gone, they can go up to the surface and basically feast on things like phytoplankton and zooplankton and other small organisms that live up at the surface. That layer is actually, it's called the deep scattering layer, and it's so dense that when it was first discovered, it was when we first invented sonar, and submarines were going out and they were pinging out their sonar, and we thought that the bottom of the ocean was moving, that it was going up and down, and that something weird was happening with the bottom of the ocean. And that was when we discovered that it's actually this dense layer. It's so dense that sonar actually pings off of it. And it does this almost every single day out at depths. And it's a really cool thing to see. It almost looks like there's like dust in the water, like particulate. But it's a bunch of small animals that are all moving up together.
That is awesome. I wasn't looking. Which one did you choose?
I put the story. I didn't know if
Story?
that's what I was supposed to do.
Whatever you want, honestly.
I got
We're
nervous.
just-
Sorry.
You're fine. We're just chatting and figuring out. Yes, it is. I actually had like you mentioned like ocean moving, and I was like, that sounds horrifying. But let's see.
As you can see, there's only
I
a narrow
really
passage
don't like her voice.
Someone
Apparently,
sorry.
you can
Silence
turn it off
her.
if you go to settings.
Okay.
All right.
We might do that.
Our destination is a nearby cave.
That's my first feedback on this game. Why could it just be like a person speaking to you?
I think voice.
Probably.
Yeah, putting the voice
Yeah.
settings and options
Go
to
quiet,
zero.
Siri. I'm sorry.
What am I supposed to be doing?
We're just exploring, and
Okay.
we're gonna try to find different animals. If you see certain animals here,
I need to look at this.
I was about
okay,
to say,
yeah,
can
we
we
can
just
also
look at
just
the
talk
diver
about
really
that. What
quickly?
are your thoughts right now?
Okay, so the first thing that I noticed in the trailer when we looked up the game is this diver's hoses aren't attached, and it doesn't bug me, but it does.
It does. It bothers you very much so.
You should always have your things clipped off to you, so you're streamlined, so you don't get stuck in them. And they're also easier to, they're more accessible to you because you want that. If you look,
Like, how are they reading that?
okay, so that blue thing with the circles on it, those are, I'm assuming, the diver's gauges. So probably one will, not probably, it is. It's telling you it's their pressure gauge. So it's telling you how much the air they have left in their cylinder, their tank. And it is air, not oxygen. So it's the air we're breathing right now. We use compressors, fill it, and that's how you can actually, you basically you squish the air down, it gets compressed, and you can fill it into a tank. And we have a compressor ourselves, and so it's up on the 3rd floor of our, like where the kelp forest is. It's kind of hidden, but if you walk up, you visit the aquarium, and you hear a loud sounds. Yeah, that's our compressor refilling tank, so we can continue to dive.
I mean, I'd like to point out the octos over there also, just flapping around.
Apparently, I don't have depth authorization to go that way.
You don't have depth authorization?
Yeah, it wouldn't let me go that way.
Oh, but we can go in a cave.
We can go in a cave?
Yeah,
Where's
it's
the
trying
cave?
to take you to a cave.
I don't know.
There's a map. There's a map up in
Oh,
the
there's a
corner.
map?
Yeah, she wants you to go to the cave.
I'm assuming that X is that.
Yeah,
What's the
I would
cave?
assume, I don't know.
Oh, let's go back
Yeah,
to
you
the
see
surface.
that little
see.
like
We'll
bright
see.
light right there.
We're being critical of this, but like it's little stuff that is really important when you're diving to be safe. So the criticism I'm giving is that they're octo, which is what we call your kind of backup breathing source. So if something goes wrong with the one you're using,
Oh, I forgot I'm doing this. Sorry.
it should be close by, tucked in. It's usually on the right side of your body, but somewhere where you can grab it really fast if there is an emergency. And this person is gonna not be able to grab that octo very fast.
Not very efficient.
Not very efficient.
Ooh, I have a light. Where's my light? I don't have it. I'm the light.
You are the
You
light.
are
You
the
bring
light.
the
Thank
light.
you. That's what I needed
I
to
am
hear.
curious. Is it just me, or does it look like the cylinder's wearing headphones?
I've seen those before. They have what's it called? It's a handle. So instead of holding it like on the valve of the tank, you can put little like a what's it called? Like a strap on like a little like handle strap on the tank, so you can hold it that way. I've seen one where you can add it to, you put wheels at the bottom.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I do like that. Cylinders can get heavy, people.
You will notice a large,
Lift safely.
yes. Carry it like a child, like 2 hands.
We have a question in the chat. When do you use special air mixes when diving? Is it for length or depth of a dive, or both?
It's for both. So definitely when you're going deeper, it's always better to do, then you can go into different, like go into more technical aspects of it. But like nitrox diving is, you're just getting different percentages.
Altering the oxygen content.
Yeah. And so nitrox diving is another recreational dive certification that you can get. And so you'll be able to dive for longer. You can go a little bit deeper, and you're less likely to get decompression sickness. So it's actually a better option, but you do have to have training on it, because one of the things you do have to do is you're checking your air, like the quality of it, yourself. And so there's different gauges or different analyzers that you would have to use either from the shop, or if you have your own personal one. Sorry, I can't table task apparently. We call this the World Coral Suite. And so you can check to make sure that the drawing a blank, the mixture is the correct percentage of what you want.
Because we're not the ones mixing it, and so it's one thing for a shop to say this is 32% oxygen, and then for you to actually say it is 32% oxygen. You don't want to plan a dive on nitrox if your air is not actually the mixture that you expect it to be, because that drastically changes your dive plan.
I have a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you want, I can take the controller.
That's probably for the
It's
best.
probably for the
Otherwise,
best.
we're gonna be on this menu like the whole time.
And I might try to change it to explore option.
Okay.
Well,
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, you two tell me a little more about how you got here. Tell me about your lives. There was a day when you were born. No, I'm just kidding.
So,
Tuesday morning.
Yeah, just tell us about what got you into diving. How long have you been diving? How long have you been at the aquarium? Yeah, tell our audience about
Wanna go
yourself
first?
a little bit.
Sure.
okay, go for it.
I have been at the aquarium for 8 years now, doing various different roles with dive operations. Both of us, and in fact every member of our team, first started in our summer children's program, Underwater Explorers, where we take kids out in our great tide pool exhibit and kind of introduce them to diving, which is just an absolutely magical experience. I first started diving in high school. Just right after I had graduated, I came up here to go to CSUMB.
What
Is that a coelacanth?
Oh my gosh, it's massive.
That is massive.
Sorry, easily distracted by cool fish.
Yes.
But I came up here for marine science, and I knew that diving was going to be a part of that. And so to try and get ahead, I started diving, and I just absolutely fell in love with it, and started to get through my certifications and slowly make my way up. And I became an instructor at 19, which was a ton of fun and really cool. And I've been diving ever since. It makes me so happy.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, I started later than Meriah. I wasn't an instructor at 19. I didn't know anything about diving really much at 19. So when I moved up here for the university, so Cal State University in Monterey Bay, and I was doing marine biology and was interested in it, and then I realized that they actually have scuba diving classes at the university, and I was like, what? At the time, it was a kinesiology class. And so I took the open water scuba diving course there, and I will never forget that moment of it's in Monterey. So if you've never been diving in Monterey, you have days where you're just like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And you have days where you're like, I can't see my buddy. And you kind of get one extreme to the other. And that's the beauty of Monterey, is like, that's just what it is. Then you kind of get used to it at this point.
Yeah.
And so my first dive in the ocean was the low visibility dive, and where my instructor gave me my hand, or took my hand, and took my buddy's hand, and he claps them together, and he's like, right there, you're holding hands, because we were holding on to a line attached to an anchor, So it was easy for us to do our skills. But so visibility was not the best. Couldn't see too much, but that moment of just like processing and realizing that I am breathing underwater was just like, this is it. I can't leave. That's what hooked me. And so I continued taking the rest of the classes, worked my up to master diver, which is like the highest recreational diver certification you can do. I became a scientific diver through university, which is where I met Meriah. We were buddies back in college, and I loved it so much that I loved the dive program at CSUMB so much that I went back and started helping, volunteering for the dive program, and I was bothering the university's diving safety officer so much. It was like, what can I do? I want to help. What else can I do to get more involved in diving? And he connected me to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, where I became a volunteer diver, and started diving here in the exhibits, just helping maintain them, cleaning the windows, cleaning the bottom of some of the exhibits. And then, I continued to volunteer, and I realized that I absolutely loved it. Like, I love being the teacher, like helping people learn about diving. And so then I wanted to be that person, to be like, I am the link to get you into the ocean. And so that's where it kind of like really turned, and became an instructor after that. I interned here with the dive operations at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. I worked, like Meriah said, we worked underwater explorers for 2 years. I did 2 years as an instructor, and then as a team lead, kind of being Meriah's right-hand person with things. And I think I became the event dive coordinator after that. Yeah. Helping with like the night events.
I didn't let you leave.
No, I just kind of hopped positions all within the dive operations, just because I knew whatever I did, it had to be within diving. And then I love the dive operations team. They're just wonderful humans. They really want us to succeed, and that's what I really appreciate. Like our bosses are just fantastic. It's a whale.
Hello.
Ooh, look.
Well, that's not what
That's-
I meant to look at, but it's fine.
That was an assumption.
Japanese flying fish.
They're pretty.
I'll answer, how do you communicate on a dive with low visibility? Which is, you be a good buddy. You shouldn't be more than arm's length from your buddy at any point in time. And, I'm sorry, I just read a comment. Yes. But you shouldn't be more than arm's length from your buddy, which means that even if we're not looking at each other, if I need to tell Sara something, I should just be able to reach out and grab her and get her attention. So by being good buddies, we can communicate pretty flawlessly with each other. We don't swim away from each other. We don't wander off. We're constantly checking on each other. So those should just be like your natural go-to. And when Viz is bad, it should be even more strict about it. Stay close to your buddy. Be a good buddy.
Sometimes having like a dive light on you as well. So it's the same thing like when you're diving, like doing a night dive, that technically is low visibility. So having lights on you, you have to have a light to see, of course. You should always have like a backup just for safety reasons. And then you can even have lights on your scuba cylinder as like a tank ID light. So it's just if your buddy's like right behind you, they can just kind of follow the flashing light. I know it's a whale shark and it's so cool.
Sorry, I just keep wanting to follow the whale shark, and now I lost it. Oh, hi. You just mentioned, you talked about a little bit about the different types of diving. Either of you could go into a little more detail about different types of diving?
I didn't realize you wrote it. Sorry, there's a comment says, I heard that some divers sometimes see a whale while diving, and we know that person, and it's true because we both got to see a whale while diving. And yes, and it was during one, it was while we were in Hawaii, We were doing a diver shakedown, so just making sure that everyone was comfortable in the gear and the new weighting because we're in Hawaii, so warmer water, so less neoprene. So we had to adjust our weight system. And while we were doing our safety stop, a humpback whale swam by us. And there was tears, there was screaming, there was just people, just shocked faces. It was a beautiful, magical moment that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
I keep taking photos. What's up?
I know that we have the video, the GoPro footage of,
Oh, you do?
of that somewhere. I'm gonna see if I can remember where it is.
I have it on my phone.
I know. Just put it up to the camera.
Hey, look.
Yeah, that was. We were told by the dive masters that we were with that this was a manta ray cleaning station. So we're like, oh, you might see manta rays. We're like, what, awesome. Yes, all for it. And I just remember I was looking at Meriah. And her and a diver, they were going to start making their way up because they're getting low on air. And so they're being good dive buddies and staying together. So I went to turn just to tell my boss, like, hey, they're going up. And I turn and I see this mass just coming towards us. And you can only see like a part, like a little bit like white in the distance. So I thought it was a manta ray. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a manta ray. And then it just kept coming. I was like, oh, it's a school of them or something. Like, oh, what's the grouping of a manta ray? I don't remember what they're
I
called.
don't remember that one.
Maybe the
I
chat
saw
knows.
just one of the peck fins, and I thought maybe it was a seal, a monk seal.
Yeah.
And I was like, how rare and fantastic. And then it just kept getting better. Like
Yeah.
the closer it got.
It just got bigger and bigger to the point I just remember like reaching back and like grabbing Meriah. And I'm just like, ah! Like we both just were like
Okay, look, it's our
screaming
friend.
underwater. We saw him yesterday. I know, 2 days ago. What's today? Thursday.
A squadron?
Squadron.
That's fantastic. I knew that was pelicans, but I
They
did
have
not
the
know
coolest
for
names.
A radiation? Oh, that's cool.
Radiation.
I mean, I'm
of
down
manta
for a
rays.
prism. Or I think we're just coming up with names now. I like it.
I'm
Best
all
one
for
wins.
it.
A
Best one wins.
radiation.
Oh,
Short
yeah.
stack
Yeah.
of sea pancakes.
Where's the pond command?
Short stack.
Sorry, I'm just gonna follow.
Oh, we were diving off of the Big Island on the Kona coast when we saw the whale.
I'm Mola.
First time.
If I were a fish.
What's your favorite exhibit to dive in at the aquarium, and why is it rocky? Why is it rocky community? I think that one's towards you.
That one is towards me. That one's definitely towards me. First, Happy Bubbles is kind of my unofficial, maybe official catchphrase.
It's official now, yes.
At this point in time. Because if you're doing a dive, your bubbles should always be happy. I stand by that one. We have a lot of cool exhibits to dive in. Personally, I'm a big fan of diving in our habitats exhibit. There is just so many cool large animals in that exhibit, and you just don't get to be exposed to that kind of quantity and variety of, as we like to call them, charismatic megafauna. But Rocky Community, probably a close second there for you, which is this teeny tiny little tube filled with anemones. Not all dives are glamorous, and some of them you can barely fit your body in, let alone gear. So we do different modes of diving. We do hookah diving, we do surface applied diving, and then just your kind of regular scuba, so where you have the cylinder on your back. When we get into those teeny tiny exhibits, we usually use surface applied or hookah diving, so the tank is actually outside of the exhibit. It's not in it with us. And someone is upstairs monitoring you. Upstairs, I'm channeling exhibits I've been in, up top, if you will, watching you, monitoring your air supply, making sure you're safe and things like that. So when we put ourselves in those teeny tiny exhibits where you're like, there's no way someone puts their body in there, we do. It's a little tricky sometimes, and you got to be careful depending on what the animals are, but it's still a ton of fun, and that's kind of like we were talking about, just being able to do different modes of diving and then put yourself into different situations. You know, you're never going to find something like that if you just go diving off the shore. So it's fun to challenge yourself and do a little scuba yoga. Sometimes you got to get creative to get in and out of those exhibits.
Just want to give a quick plug. You mentioned the Monterey Bay habitats exhibit, and we have a video up on our YouTube channel about the giant sea bass in the Monterey Bay Habitats
Oh, yeah.
exhibit. So go check out our YouTube channel if you're not on YouTube already. But sorry, just wanted to give that plug before. Sarah, go ahead. What's your favorite exhibit to dive in?
That one's hard. Like habitats is always fun because like it's because of the diversity, I think. Trying to think if there's anything that's like different. Gulf Forest is always, it's just beautiful. I love diving with the leopard sharks. Occasionally we might get our swell shark come out, and she's probably my favorite animal in the entire aquarium. If I see her, I will squeal.
It's true.
It's true. Open sea is another fun one too, just because it is like a deeper dive. It's 35 is the max depth of that exhibit, and just it's the same thing kind of with the habitat, just being able to see the diversity and the size of some of the animals in that exhibit. It's pretty mind blowing. Like when you're swimming next to like the tuna or the mahi, and you're like, you can be the size of me. Like I'm slightly bigger than you. And then just knowing that these animals are small compared to some that are out in the ocean, like that's like the crazy part to me. And then and also just like with the rays, they're always fun.
Yeah. I mean, we make, here, I was literally just about to talk about it. You know, we made the comment earlier that the mola we saw was roughly like medium pizza size. This mola, as you can kind of see, like in proportion to the diver in the game, is fairly large, and that's not inaccurate. We actually had a mola get so huge in our open seas exhibit that we had to like helicopter it out. So we had to like cut a hole in the ceiling, bring in basically like this giant trampoline, get this huge mola onto it, and then like medevac it back out into the ocean, because it was the only way we could get that animal out. It was so huge. So these animals really do get giant, like Sarah was saying. You know, the ones that we have on exhibit are definitely not the biggest that they can get, and it's for a reason. We want, you know, to make sure that they're going back out into the ocean before they aren't comfortable while they're on exhibit. But yeah, these animals can get pretty big. This is not at all hyperbolic in its representation.
There's two questions here that kind of are similar, so I think we can try and combine them. If someone hasn't been scuba diving before, and what are things that you would be good to know beforehand to decide if it might or not be good for you. So one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize, and I think this was also a comment that came up earlier, is so like when I teach an open water class, I teach at the universities on my day off because that's how much I love scuba diving, is I still do it on my day off from the aquarium. And so when we get new open water students, that's the beginner level course, a lot of students will come in thinking that the gear will do all the work, that you're going to give me fins and a mask and a wetsuit and a buoyancy compensator device and a scuba cylinder, and so all I have to do is be there. No. So what happens is the gear advances advances, what's the word? Enhances, that's the word. Enhances what's already there. So if you aren't comfortable in the water, like just swimming, if you don't really swim as much, you don't have to be perfect at swimming. I'm definitely not perfect at swimming, but you have to be comfortable enough that just putting more, adding more variables it won't be like a stressor. And so that's like one of my biggest things is like, just if you're someone who wants to learn how to dive, first thing you do, go to the pool, go to your local pool and just swim. Get used to like different styles of swimming, get used to breath holds, because there's different things that you might not realize. If there's ever an emergency, how do you react? And so just all these little things that start thinking about. But just getting comfortable in the water. And then if you're still not sure, try snorkeling. Snorkeling is a great way to still see the underwater life. But then it's not fully submerged.
Yes, Emily.
I found the video.
You found it.
Yeah.
Found a
I'm
video.
I'm gonna play. I can't play the sound for it, but
Oh, look, it's our friend.
but people can watch the if the mule loads. There we go. The experience of humpback whale in Kona.
Yay!
Yeah.
So this whale, it already swam past us, and then it kept going, and we thought it was just going to keep going. Then it turned around, and it was basically playing chicken because we were like, it was coming at us.
I dropped down.
I was going to lose, that's for sure. Yeah, George, I'm sorry.
We did. I like to make the joke though, because we immediately, like, once we realized what was happening, you could hear in the water just like we were all so excited. And so I like to imagine that whale was like, what are those weird dolphins saying? Because we were just like ecstatic about it, and you could just hear everybody just basically like screaming with joy as much as we could underwater with regulators in our mouths.
Yes. Yeah, that is a moment I will never, ever, ever forget. It was amazing. Like, nothing, I don't think anything will ever top that moment. Unless they see another whale.
Yeah.
But that was the first one.
Let's go for whale round 2.
Yes. And a little fun fact, that's our boss.
That's our boss. Yeah, George.
That's our other boss. And then that's one of our friends. She's
You
a
can
local
really
to
see
the
how
island.
stoked we are.
Yeah. That was one of the dive masters with us who, she actually used to work in the dive office with us.
Yeah, she also did underwater explorers.
She also did underwater explorers. You might see a trend.
We're all over the place.
We come in to help. We want to stoke kids on diving,
Yeah.
Honestly,
And-
yeah.
and then we just stay because we love diving. Yeah, that was still realizing that we were there.
Okay, anyway, that was the interruption.
Yeah,
I found it.
that was wonderful.
Thank you,
Back to the
Emily.
game now.
Our brief aside.
Everyone in the chat say thank you to Emily for finding that video.
Yeah.
We did
Thanks,
it.
I'm going to go back to the question I had earlier, which is if you could tell us a little bit about different types of diving.
Oh yeah.
While we look at this beautiful eagle ray.
So pretty. So like Meriah was talking about, there's different modes of diving, and then there's also different I guess you would just say types. So like Meriah was talking about
classifications.
yeah. So Meriah was talking about like scuba diving. So scuba diving is basically what our diver here is doing. It's self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. So they have a cylinder on their back, and they are their own thing. They're their own entity, basically. There's hygge diving, which Meriah mentioned. You have the cylinders outside, usually next to a tender, so someone who is watching your pressure gauge, making sure you're still going on air and everything else. They're your dive buddy. Your dive buddy's out of the water for this. And then you have surface supply, which when we do our surface supply dives, so if anyone's seen like our feeding show, our live feeding show, that is surface supply. So the diver is wearing a full face mask, so they have communications. They have a mic on the inside. They actually are wearing ears. They have like headphones on. And it's a full face mask, so I think this diver's also wearing a full face mask because the person we turned off was technically their tender.
Yeah, technically was their tender.
Yeah. And so you can see it looks like they have little ears on the side, those little blue pucks. So surface supply, you have your lines. It's the same thing. It's going up to the surface, and then you have the communication, and that's kind of like the different aspect of it. And what's fun about like the surface supply is you can actually like continue the dive. Like when we do, so sometimes we do commercial diving. There's different, like we're talking about like different types of diving. A lot of our dives in the exhibits when we're doing maintenance and just working with the animals are under like the recreational field. When we're diving out in the field, we're doing more scientific dives, data collection and such. And then there's different operations that we, as in the dive office, might do, and that might fall under commercial diving. So anything that, like, if there's any work that might need to be done within the exhibit, or if we're doing inspections. So we did a dive behind the open sea exhibit, and so that's more in a confined space, so that becomes more of a commercial dive. So there's a lot more safety aspects that we have to put into account for it. Right. But we use surface supply diving as a mode for that, because then we can easily change out the cylinders and continue to dive without having to get out, where on scuba you only have your one tank.
Yeah, we do a lot of also what's called technical diving. So there's recreational, which is what we're doing right now in the game, right? Going out, enjoying the ocean or a lake or whatever other, body of water. And then technical diving is when you do things that you wouldn't normally do on a recreational dive. It's not super fancy, but like, for example, when we get into the exhibits and we clean the acrylic, I'm not taking a rag and a scrubber out with me when I go on recreational dives, and so that's not a task that you would normally go and do. So then that falls under technical, because it's, we're going in, we're doing something specific. Maybe it's gardening algae in the kelp forest exhibit. Maybe it's feeding the animals in our habitats exhibit. But that's not something that you do out in the wild, on a recreational dive, and so that falls into technical diving. Yay! Golden whale. I feel like we've earned that. Yeah.
Yes. Probably because we showed the video.
I'm trying to chat. Help me out. What is this? What is this? Do I just move
Do you just
it
get
here?
to like?
What?
Does the diver?
I don't know what's happening. I don't get what that is. I'm just gonna move on.
Yeah. Thumbs up. I'd like to point out, though, when you're diving, you never give a thumbs up to say something is great, because that means let's go up to the surface. So it's always funny because people will come up to us when we're on exhibit, and they're like, yeah, and thumbs up, and we're like, yeah.
You can always tell when there's a diver in the like as a guest, because they'll come up to you and give you the okay, and I'm like, I see you, hello.
There was a question in the chat about what's your favorite fish?
Oh, that's a
Talked
hard
about swell sharks,
question.
but
I would say swell shark. I mean, I have a swell
have
shark
the swell shark.
tattooed,
Mhm.
so I would have to say swell shark. Yeah, I think what really got me into just ocean anything was white sharks, great white sharks. I just thought those were amazing animals, that they're these massive creatures, but they can do so much. And like they're like the abilities that they are capable of, and like I don't know, I thought they were just amazing critters. They're not critters.
They're critters.
But just amazing animals that I wanted to learn more, and I was just like, how can you do this? Well, how is that? You're so, like, how are you able to jump out of the water? Like, the size you are. But then it's the same thing with whales. So that just kind of, like, led me down this track of, like, I'm interested. I got to learn more. There's something else that does this? Okay, now I'll get going. And now I'm here.
I think I'm gonna pick two here. I'm cheating. First is gonna be we've already shouted out, but the giant sea bass. I love the giant sea bass. I have the absolute pleasure of getting to be a trainer, like in the video that we just posted, and going in and working with them is just one of the most magical things in the world. And getting to kind of build a relationship with them, it's such an honor, and it's so cool to do, and I am giddy every time I go down there. Oftentimes, if you ever see me doing a training session, I will be doing like a little dance out of excitement. I can't help it. The other one, though, is going to be a little shout out to our kelp forest exhibit, is going to be the wolf eel. I love our wolf eels.
Yes.
They are, I
Sorry.
like to affectionately, yes. I got another wolf eel fan
Can you describe the view that they have? It's just me poking my head out from behind this giant CPU tower when I have something to say. There's like a little gopher.
I'm glad to see we have Wolffield fans in here.
Well, no,
I like to. Sorry,
Did
go.
you see the Wolffield in? I think it was yesterday's kelp forest feeding.
Yeah.
Oh no,
she
did it
was just
come
like
out?
she was all over
cute.
Rosie, like just like a scarf around her, like
Yes!
"Oh, I'm just being adorable.
so jealous.
They are. I affectionately like to call them the pugs of the ocean because they're so ugly that they're adorable. Especially the males get like real scraggly, wrinkly faces. But they're so cute and they're so sweet, in my opinion. They're also really important to the ecosystem. Most people don't realize it because, like you said, we've got our cute ones. They're coming out. They're like scarves. They've been with us for so long. They trust divers. They eat out of our hands. But out in the wild, those animals actually eat urchins. Which is really important to kelp forest preservation. So they're out there doing the good work. They are eating urchins. They're keeping our kelp forests healthy. But that cute little snaggletooth smile actually is strong enough to snap a wooden broomstick in one bite. So we also have to be very careful and respect that those animals have a pretty strong bite also.
Sorry, I got excited over lionfish.
Yeah,
But
that's
yes,
okay.
also. Yay, I'm so excited to talk about a wolffield. Every time I go to the kelp forest, I'm like, can I manifest a wolffield?
Yes.
to
Yes.
come out today.
They have been coming out more and more. Like, I think they've come out every feeding show the past few weeks.
Yeah, we've got some new residents of the kelp forest. They're not new to us. They just lived in a different exhibit and they got a little too big, so now they're in the kelp forest exhibit. But both of the two new ones in the kelp forest exhibit are just so charismatic. And they very quickly realized when the feeding show was happening and what was happening, and that they can very easily become the stars of the show. So they are very smart. They figured out exactly what to do when feeding time started.
I'm getting so many sharks.
I like
Love
it.
it.
Makes me happy.
They're so cute.
I'm excited to see the chat. Also gets excited over giant sea bass and wolf eels. I meant to ask actually, is there a so we have 5 giant sea bass in general. So we got OG in the kelp forest exhibit, and then we got 4 other ones in the Monterey Bay Habitats exhibit. We got Blue, we got Theo, we got Delta, and we have Charlie. Which one do you is there one that you do more trainings with?
Yeah, so we actually are, for the most part, assigned kind of to a fish. And like I said earlier, we do build relationships with these fish, and some people get along with certain fish better than other people do, and they pick who they like and who they want to work with. And so we try to match up who works well with the different animals. I personally work with our largest giant sea bass, Blue. She is very sweet, but also will take her sweet time. So you have to have a lot of patience and understanding with Blue. Let her take her time, work with her, all that good stuff. But yeah, I've worked with Blue. I've worked with her for a very long time now, and she's definitely, you know, I don't want to single out a sea bass, but she's probably my favorite sea bass.
And why and how do you train fish?
Yeah, so we target train our giant sea bass. Believe it or not, we have to give the fish baths, which I know sounds crazy, but we give them freshwater baths. They are prone to an accumulation of parasites around their eyes that can sometimes cause blindness. And so in order to combat that, we actually will take them out of the salt water in their exhibit. We put them in a freshwater bath. The fresh water shocks those parasites off of the fish. This also gives us time to check things like how much do they weigh, how long have they grown, things like that. So we can kind of get morphometrics on these animals to keep track of them. And then we put them back into their exhibit after their baths. As I'm sure you can imagine, trying to get a fish that weighs 100, 200, 300 pounds to cooperate with this might be a little bit difficult. So we've been working with them to target train them so that they can positively associate their individual targets. They'll come up to that target. We reward them with food. We then kind of introduce the stretcher that we use to get them out of the exhibit during these procedures. And then we create positive reinforcement with that. And then we're able to just reinforce these behaviors over and over again so that when we do have to go in, we have to get these procedures, we're not causing stress to the animal or overworking or overexerting ourselves either. We're able to just kind of bring them right up, get them over into the stretcher, bring them up, and do everything as stress-free as possible.
Sorry, the face of these sharks.
Yeah, they're
We all know that
definitely
meme
comical.
of that cat that's like, huh?
Yes.
This is what the shark looks like
That
right
is, yes.
Well, that's really cool. As you mentioned, so those the reason why the parasites can grow on them is because we take care of our animals so well here that the tiny fishies that out in the wild would eat off those parasites off of the giant sea bass don't really need to do that because they're being fed so well. So, giving them a bath is a way that we combat that, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's see the chat.
I didn't
Yes, we don't have a
see-
lot of shark emotes. Well, we'll tell our design team.
I did
Christina.
see someone
Christina,
say
if
that
you're
there was
watching
a
this.
deep sea area we could go to.
Oh, there's deep sea. I've been trying to like find places to dive
Okay.
down.
Is it
but,
is
like,
it all one big?
So
all of it?
I mean, there
apparently-
was a bit of a canyon.
All
yeah.
of the habitats in one?
Apparently, you have to unlock different places.
Yeah.
So,
So we've unlocked like 4% so
Yeah.
far. Been going quite slowly through.
I'm
this.
very interested in this. There's like an ancient seas area and there's a deep sea area. We gotta get to
we
everything.
gotta work up
Okay.
We gotta
to
work
that.
up.
I'm
to
sorry.
it.
Okay.
I will
These are
be.
goals.
I'll
Gotta
try my-
explore.
Yeah, I'll try to be better. I'll
It
try
is
to not get
it's
distracted.
really nice not worrying about how much air is in your cylinder.
I know, this is
While
I
fantastic.
diving.
honestly keep feeling like it's gonna say,
Like,
"Oh, you need to
warning.
go back," because I'm thinking about when you're like playing a game. Yes, I am still confused about
It's
what this
markers
is.
on
You
the
can
map.
mark it. Yeah,
Okay,
to
but
come
how
back
do
to
I
it
mark
later.
it?
I think why?
Have I marked it now? I don't. We're just gonna move on. I just think about how you're playing a game and you like run really fast and then you need some time.
Yeah.
And that's what I expect from this. I'm just expecting it to be like you're out of air, and
Yeah.
go up to the surface. But we don't have to worry about that. That's
And
nice.
you go through air faster on a full face mask than you do in a normal scuba getup. So I keep waiting for it to like warn you, but I don't think that's gonna happen, which is fantastic.
Such a little friend.
I know, he's cute.
So cute. I think as I was customizing, I gave that hat without meaning to. 8%. Okay. We're getting there slowly. Hopefully, we'll get to some deep sea stuff. Let's see. If you press X, you can see where you're on the map, the brown section are the parts of the map you have. Yes. I know. I figured it out about the brown sections. There's just so much fish, and I just want to look
Yeah.
at all of them. Like, look at this guy.
Oh my
Look
gosh!
at it. I love it so much.
Urban Yields,
Just
yes.
doing one of these.
Let's see. What other questions? Krista, have you found any questions that I missed? Or
I
yes.
have a question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's go.
Because I think it's really cool that it's something that you two are doing, Sarah and Meriah, with diver training, and specifically how we train for safety with women divers and how that's different, and how we're kind of like pioneering in that field.
I mean, one of the things that's pretty awesome about just our divers in general, or just the population, I guess, of our divers, is majority of our divers are female.
We're 70% female.
And so one of the things that was, and I like one of the things that I think when me and Meriah got hired, that we were able to bring to the table was little adjustments that might have been needed for like for example, like gear. Making sure that if it's just all body types, doesn't matter who you are, what you identify as, like just something like that may not have been thought of before. And so that's something that we're just slowly like just we're always trying to adapt. That's the whole thing. Like with diving, you have to adapt. And so it's not just underwater, it's above as well. And so we're always trying to adapt to making sure that everybody is comfortable on their dive, doesn't matter who you are, and making sure that you're safe. And so we do different trainings. And so like one of the trainings that we also do is we do like first aid trainings. So we teach CPR, first aid, basic life support, AED use, oxygen use, or O2 administration. And so one of the things that we have adjusted recently, Meriah kind of took the lead on this, was adding breasts to our mannequins. So like all of our CPR mannequins, before they were tailored to a male torso, yeah. And so Meriah has done research, and we are able to add bigger breasts, and so to kind of do all body shapes and all body sizes, and so that way when we're practicing saving lives, we're making sure that everybody is getting the practice. Every body we are able to save. Oh my gosh!
Look at it.
Look at its face. Wait, can you turn it like face so it's like right there?
That shark has seen things.
I know. Oh, it's so
Now it's like bye.
But yeah, just to kind of accentuate that a little bit, it is an unfortunate fact that, especially in a public setting, so outside of a hospital, women are less likely to receive care and quality care when experiencing a cardiac incident. And it's for a wide variety of reasons, and the first one being modesty. And so we are trying to kind of break down that ingrained gender bias around the subject, and we teach our students to save lives, no matter who the victim is. And so, it's a really exciting thing we've been able to pioneer and bring to our trainings, and we're really stoked about it.
Thank you for all that you do.
Yeah.
This is so exciting. I know that I don't like look super. I'm like,
No,
but I'm just very.
No, I get it. That's why I was just like, you're like, I'll take it. I was like, thank you. I can't.
Just very intrigued about this. But yes, this work is so important for really moving forward in the inclusivity of the diving field. And look at all those sparkles.
Woo!
That was cool. I actually didn't read any of that.
That's good.
Moving on. Hello, the real Warden 7. We're doing great. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. Tuning in.
Whale.
Haven't been checking to see if we have had a pun counter going on, but we got
There
a few puns.
definitely
I did a poor job, so this is only our
the
second pun.
YouTube chat's really going hard on the puns over here.
The puns are back.
The puns.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, it seemed like everything in the game is random, so it's okay. It is very.
Yeah, we
randomly
haven't
generated.
encountered any California coast dense algae or anything like that. This is definitely more like tropical coral reefy.
I gotta say, I'm kind of sad that we can't, unless we can actually identify. Yeah, we can't identify like coral, and it's all like fish based, which I guess is fine. But I also want to
Yeah, it would be
identify
pretty
corals
cool to,
and
Justice for
algae.
coral.
Justice for coral. They're important for our
Corals are
ecosystem.
important. Absolutely.
How are we liking the game so far? Also, yay from Spain. How are we liking the game so far? How are we vibing with it?
Are we vibing?
We had some comments about the design of the diver and how we don't want any loose items. I shouldn't be the one talking. We should have the divers actually
if
talk
I were
about
their
it.
instructor, I would definitely have some criticisms. But overall, I mean, I think the representation of the habitats, at least that we've seen, is pretty beautiful. I saw some comments earlier about how some people thought the sharks were a little strange, and now having seen them, it is kind of comical to see a couple of
They
these.
are so
Yeah.
funny. I love their faces.
Overall, though, as far as like gear, wetsuit, I'm not sure how thick that wetsuit is or how deep we are at this point in time. So I'm not sure on that. But
I know. Now that you mention it, though, it would be really cool. Maybe it does do that, and you guys can let us know
Yeah.
because I'm not sure. I don't see it. But just knowing the depth that you're at, and so that way you can compare
Yes.
it where how deep you are to see the animals that you're at.
Is
And
I
so
don't
that
know.
way
Is,
you
there,
see-
is it that? Is it up there in the upper left corner? I don't. What is that?
I think
number?
that's like your points, your
points of
gathering
exploration.
points.
Okay, that makes sense.
But
yeah, it
over
would've
here
been
on the
great.
right, do you see it?
Ooh,
It actually, I think
Oh, it's cut off. I
it's
think.
just barely cut off, but it looks like there is
Right by
depth
the map.
there.
Oh, it's on ours. It's cut off. On that, it's not.
30, is that feet? Is it
I don't
feet
know.
Or is it meters?
Oh, it's too small even with the glasses on. I'm good with meters. Really, it's dark out.
yeah, that's why I'm asking. I mean, in the Monterey Bay, that is what 30 feet looks like.
Someone says it's meters.
It's meters?
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah, that would make sense.
this is within recreational dive limits still, right? 90 feet?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah. I don't know what level they're at. It's not open water, I hope.
This person needs to have a minimum their advanced certification. Yeah, there's good representation here. I've kind of seen some comments on this too about the kick style. There is a wide variety of kick styles here. A lot of times with divers, you're gonna see just kind of like alternating leg kicks. A lot of times
Tiger
we'll do
shark.
like frog kicks or like scuttle kicks are my personal favorite, especially when you're trying to make your way through kelp. You just kind of gotta slowly weave your way through.
Oh, we found the
Ooh, is
wreck.
it a boat?
We found the wreck diving.
Yes.
You need a certification for that too.
To go in it. If you're on top, it's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
No
yeah.
overhead environment.
That's called non-penetration wreck diving, and I'm not. That's legitimately. But yeah, to go inside, you definitely need that. Be wearing gloves. That's just asking for you to get cut. I did see someone ask about dolphin kicking earlier. I personally, I don't do a lot of dolphin kicking. That's kind of like asking for your gear to shift around on your back a lot. It's not super comfortable, personally. Do you have opinions on the dolphin kick?
Yeah, every now and then I'll do it, but I think it's more for fun. It's more of like I don't think I usually do it to go anywhere. It's I'm making my way back into the boat or to the shore, and I'm kind of like the either the collection part is done, the data collecting part is done, or the
Apparently
task
you
is
can go in
done.
that wrecked Golnoush.
Huh?
If you want to, you can go in the ship. Chat
Oh,
says.
I will in
Just
just
saying,
a moment.
If
Thank
you're,
you.
If you're feeling like it.
I
I
yes.
say we go in there. You never know what's looking.
Okay. Let's ooh.
We definitely have all of those certs because we did a polar zone and caves in this game. Ooh.
Ooh, polar zone. Oof. In a wetsuit? Oof.
So tiny.
So small.
One might say the size of a dart.
Oh.
Oh, a goby.
Aw. There's so many.
Emily, do we want to talk about? This is not the kind of goby that I'm thinking of. That you may be thinking of.
Am I thinking of the blue-banded goby?
You're
Is that what
thinking,
you're
yeah.
asking
Do we want to talk about? Do we want to promo something?
we can't.
We can't
It's
hear
too
it.
soon.
Oh darn it!
It's
Okay.
too soon. But
Dang it.
if you want to learn cool facts about the blue-banded goby, pay attention to our social media channels on Monday.
Really aggressive foreshadowing
Cough,
here.
cough, cough. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Double wink.
That's just a blink with both eyes.
So cool.
Yeah, in the wreck. Cool.
So glad I got to see another lionfish. I love lionfish.
I will flag that that we are at time, but I don't want to stop us exploring if you're having a good time.
Well, when do you have to go?
I mean, we're here.
I don't know when Scott wants to leave.
I mean, look at that face. Can you say no to that face? Okay.
I got a thumbs up also.
Yeah.
So
Do we?
I think we're okay.
go.
Okay.
1 hour,
Go.
yeah.
For a little bit longer.
Chat 1 hour
Scott's
is not
watching
enough.
this right now.
I know. Sorry, Scott. It's our
Waiting
boss.
for my Zoom to buzz. A call from Scott. Excuse me.
He's covering us right now.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Scott.
Everyone in the chat, thanks, Scott.
Scott's the best.
Is 1 hour long or short or average for a real life dive? It depends on the person. So I would say 30, 40 minutes is
It's
kind of like an
typical.
average dive, and depending on your level of experience. And then just like and a comfort, and then just as
It's
you
cold down there.
as you just gain more experience diving, you it's just like anything you do. You're training yourself to be better at it and more proficient. And so you can actually every time. And so what's it called?
Please don't mind our camera. It just does not like to stay awake.
Okay.
Sorry, continue.
And yeah, so then as you just keep diving, you can stay longer because your air consumption is better. You're just getting more comfortable in the water. Maybe you have better gear, or you're in warmer water, so you're not as cold. You don't get as cold as often. We had.
Let's say, what was our long dive last year? Was it 2.5 hours?
I think so.
It was 70-degree water.
Yeah, and it was a shallower
It
dive.
was shallow.
And so.
Oh, did we find treasure?
Ooh.
Treasure.
Fantastic. Normally.
Is this the One Piece? Okay, I'm gonna move on.
Yes.
Well, we still don't know what that is.
I'm not sure if I was allowed to say that, but so let's move on.
But yeah, you know, every person too, it's like how much air do you go through, how quickly. So 2.5 hours is kind of our limit. For 70 degrees, really shallow, we can last 2.5 hours. If it's real cold out there, you might not want to be down there that long. The kelp forest can get as low as 48 degrees, is the coldest I've seen.
Yeah, the other day it was 47.
Yeah,
It was
it's
so
brisk.
cold. I get cold, but never cold where I'm like, okay, let's end the dive. And I was with students, and they were doing a dive, and we're at a beautiful site. And so I'm just quietly suffering, but also like not to the point where I'm like, okay, it's unsafe, I should get out. But then they told me, like, okay, it's cold, let's get out. I was like, oh, thank you.
We're just waiting for it.
I was just like, okay, cool. I'm like, you know what? That's great. We were supposed to do a 30-minute dive, and we did a 20-minute dive.
Yeah.
Because it was that cold.
With the you-know-what at the bottom. We don't know what.
What are we waiting?
I hope they find the deepest valley with the you-know-what at the bottom. This better not be like the Meg.
And they put a volcano.
They did put a volcano. I'm thinking maybe hydrothermal vents.
Ooh, that would be cool.
I'm thinking, yeah,
I want to see some of those.
right?
This
This
is-
is That's not a bad description at all.
That's great.
Hey, Sarah, conditions permitting, does the weather above affect dives below?
Yes. We want to make a pillow that's just say conditions
Conditions
permitting,
permitting.
because that's kind of like a slogan for us. It's a lot of things. It's like, can we go diving? Conditions permitting. Are we able to do this? Conditions permitting. And so being able, so if you're diving off the shore or off a boat, one of the things you're checking is like wind, the swell, surf. Some people, like newer divers, they're like, it's raining, we can't go diving. I was like,
What, are you gonna get wet?
yeah. I was like, that's okay. So, but yeah, weather does affect, well, this question's asking if it affects the dives below. And so to an extent, like if it's super windy, you might feel surge underwater. So you're gonna get this back and forth motion. Honestly, I love diving in surge because I don't have to do a lot of work if you use the surge to your advantage. If you're trying to swim against it, you're gonna get tired very, very quickly.
at that.
Oh my gosh.
Plenty. It's so plenty.
Where is its eyes?
It's
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 right
there.
there.
It's right there. Oh. Liggy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's so cute. The weird angle, but
It
it's
is
very cute.
They're like, there's a rock there. We're not letting you look.
No.
I also want to find this. Sorry, continue, please.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so you might feel surge. So if it's like super windy, you might feel surge because you're feeling like that motion. But as you go deeper, you're not going to feel a surge because the wind's not really affecting it as much. But so shallower dives, that's one of the things. It's like you're shallower, the visibility might be a little bit worse. It might be a little bit surgier. But then a lot of people, like myself, you can use surge to your advantage to dive and also use it for navigation. Hello. And you get the small one. And the other small one.
You were
As
looking at
the
this,
mass
right?
just swims behind it.
Definitely not the whale shark.
New record.
Woo! Maybe we're unlocking more areas.
Yeah, we definitely have been unlocking some areas. Not a whole lot. I'm not sure if we'll be able to find because that's not what I meant to. This
Head
is where we're at.
northeast. Someone's saying head north. East.
Okay.
That's probably where the cool area is.
Okay, I shall do my best.
We're holding you to that. It's not cool. You versus the fish she tells you not to worry about. The shark will always win. In coolness. Oh, it's so shallow.
Yeah, we're up in fairly shallow waters now. Hello. What are you, friend?
Looks like a manta.
Ah.
Yay!
Centimeters. So, I'll do a weird cetacean lesson if you'd like. So cetaceans, referring to whales here. There's two major types of whales. There's mysticetes, which are baleen whales. They're primarily filter feeders, so they're the ones that go and eat krill, and then kind of filter out all of the water. Think of it like a big pasta strainer, and then lick all of that krill off the back of the baleen, and they're able to eat that. The other type is odontocetes, which are toothed whales. So those are the orcas and the dolphins that you're kind of calling out there. And those are active hunters. Those are predators. They are going after prey items, and they use those teeth just like any other predator would to eat those prey items. So different types of prey items, each one of those cetaceans, those types of whales are going after, but the odontocetes all have those same kind of conical teeth. They're backward facing because then things can't pull out as much. Oh, look, see? That's a filter feeder. I'm doing a big scoop there. Is that a
Face.
basking shark? Yeah. Look at that. You're so silly.
Oh my god. Look at its face!
So this basking shark doesn't have baleen, but it's doing the same thing. Look at that big mouth. Ah.
We sometimes get basking sharks here, and I know that a couple of them have been spotted off of Big Sur before. I haven't seen. Has anyone seen basking shark?
I have
No.
not, unfortunately.
That would be really cool.
That's
I'm
a
here
bucket
for it.
list.
That is
Yeah.
a bucket list, definitely.
What are some things that you're excited about in the coming months when it comes to your job? And diving, and like if we think of the seasons changing, what are some things that get you all excited with diving?
Well, honestly, it might sound corny or anything like that, but like, I love learning about diving and learning new techniques, and it's like that's the fun thing is like there's never like you're never done. Like it's just like anything you learn about. Like you're never done there. You can always learn more. And so for us, I know we're gonna have like different opportunities just to learn more in different capacities, and just to get more training done, and just being safety officers more. So like when we do our blackwater dives, like this past trip we went out, I got checked off to be a safety diver. So for a blackwater dive, so now I get to be one of the people who lead the dives, which is
cool.
a pretty cool thing. And so like that, like doing things like that, moving forward, I'm excited to help out again with. And yeah, and just like just more field trips, field trips, yeah. And just being able to do other, more of like commercial diving. So like when it's coming to like helping out, taking care of the exhibits, not just like cleaning, like, and doing just like your basic maintenance, not really basic, but like your general maintenance that you do throughout like the weeks. But like the bigger stuff that people don't realize, like when we have like our turtle, what is it called? Like our holding pool. Like where
the spa
the
area?
turtle spot.
yeah, so like where the turtles go out to hang out in the sun. And so every so often we have to go underneath that lift and change out the sinks. And so it's more of a commercial dive, and we're getting to dive and it's just a different aspect of it. And so that's something that both of us are going to be able to do this time around. It was a fun dive last time, and me and my boss dove it last time, and we got the record for the longest dive. And so now me and Meriah have to do it again, so then we can get the longest dive.
I was vexed. I was so close.
Meriah was our tender.
I almost had it.
I think you weren't feeling well, right?
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was not diveable, and it was the saddest moment of my life.
The conditions were not meeting.
No.
My conditions
Yeah.
were not permitting, if you will. Never dive if you're congested. You will regret that. It is not worth pushing it to do the dive, but it will haunt you. I always think another one, just because, I mean, like, you kind of hinted at it. I'll think about it.
Woo!
Look at that fat fish. What a lot of people don't realize is that in the Monterey Bay, we have a pretty unique thing going on called upwelling. And basically that's where this cold, dense, nutrient-rich water comes up from the canyon, the Monterey Canyon, and comes up close to shore. So what a lot of people don't realize is that during the summer is when that happens, and it's when our water is the coldest. So our water's coldest during the summer and warmest during the winter, which is very counterintuitive. So I love a good winter dive. It's nice and toasty down there.
Sorry, I had to just pause real quick
Yeah.
because we found a statue of a man.
Yes, you did.
Very random.
Mhm.
Oh, hello.
Oh, is there a drop off? No, maybe? No. Just abyssal plains.
But yeah, that difference in seasons is something often when people who are not Monterey native or don't know much about the Monterey seasonal changes it's rather a surprise. So.
Yeah, oftentimes we get an influx of visitors during the summer, and you'll see them run into the water and then immediately have regrets. Yeah, it's pretty chilly.
But now, folks that are watching the stream, now you know.
Now you know.
When you come and
Be
visit.
prepared.
What's
upwelling?
that?
Not much. What's up with you? A good one. It's great.
Well, we are coming close to 5 p.m. Is there any last things that we didn't talk about that you would love to talk about while I figure out what the heck this is?
That's pretty cool.
I'm not sure what's going on there. An ancient disc.
This is probably where this is
we
where we have to
finally
go.
reach this? Oh, man.
I am pressing the button there. Ooh, that witch
Lives
lies
in
in
here.
suspense. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So what?
That was cool.
Guess we'll just have to stream again. Oh,
I
no.
guess this is
Oh, no.
yeah, actually, this is a great cliffhanger.
Yeah, this is a good
This is a
cliffhanger.
good cliffhanger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Thank you so much, both of you, for coming here and playing this game with us and chatting about all things ocean and diving and nerding about it. I feel very energized. I was like feeling really tired around noon, but I was like, I know the stream is gonna pump me up, and I definitely feel it. So thank you so much again. Thank you everyone in the chat. Thank you to Krista and Emily behind the scenes. Thank you to Scott and George and everybody who allowed us to have these wonderful people here while they hold the fort in the aquarium. I don't know what I'm saying at this point.
That's what we say.
And any last things you'd like to share before we say goodbye to all our fronds online?
Thank you for letting us be here. This was a lot of fun. Definitely
Absolutely.
different. Usually we're that person. And so being in front of a camera when you're not wearing a full face mask is weird, definitely. But this was a lot of fun. So thank you so much for having us. Like, this was a treat.
Absolutely. I hope that, people watching probably, I hope that you find this game cool. And, we had someone earlier say that this game encouraged them to go try scuba diving and get certified. And I think that's absolutely amazing. And hopefully some of you think this is so cool that you want to go out and do the real thing. And we're going to, of course, encourage you, go out there, see the ocean. You protect what you love, and the ocean is an absolutely magical place to be. And when you get underwater, it's just even better. So hopefully some of you are inspired to get out there and hop in the ocean.
Yeah, learn how to dive, go snorkeling, go swimming, just anything. That's the fun part about diving is people, when they think about careers in diving, they think the only thing they can do is research diving, but there's so many other jobs. There's other pathways that you can do. So if you're like, I want to do this for a living, there's something for you. That's the fun part, you figuring out what it is. So yeah, thanks for having us.
That is a great place to end the stream, I think. And
Yay!
thank you everyone for joining us. We will continue to have our regular live cams up of our different exhibits, and hopefully we'll see you on another gaming stream sometime. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye, everyone.